And I'm on the block. When New York, I really walk a lot. I didn't know my sock. I didn't know my sock. Selling every rock.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Devin here. So I know I usually don't make videos like this anymore, but I kind of just wanted to make this video because I'm struggling with this little wireless GameCube controller problem. Now, before I get into this video, I just wanted to make the comment that I understand this is probably very alienating for most of my audience, and I'm probably distancing a huge portion of y'all when I'm talking about such a niche subject, but this is just a huge problem that I personally have with not only Nintendo as a company, but PowerA as a company as well. PowerA has licensed controller products for Nintendo, and instead of building them with the $30 budget they have, they instead choose to put most of that product into nothing but profit. I'm not exactly stupid. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm going to change the entire statement of how Nintendo is run and change how they act, because I'm running into such meaningless and monotonous issues that it's probably never going to affect anybody but a very niche few. Before I get into things, I think we all need to at least know that at this point Nintendo is run by a bunch of old-ass Japanese people that refuse to change with the times, and refuse to support the same technology that has made their company get to the point that it is at today. I completely understand that at some point a company needs to know their limits, or else they're going to end up like whoever the fuck runs the advertising for Chips Ahoy. But I absolutely refuse to understand this stupid idea of controllers needing to be absurdly expensive, yet built with a style so cheap that an Indonesian kid with gangrene for fingers can not only construct a better built controller, but in less time for that matter. Most gaming-focused companies don't get into making their own controllers because most of their players alienate themselves by choosing better controllers made by third-party sources. PlayStation fans using scuff controllers rather than the officially licensed PlayStation controllers is a good example of such a thing. But does it seriously seem like an infeasible task to be able to construct a controller with at least the build quality of something an Indonesian kid could create? I know most people can't afford a $195 controller or anything like that, and I'm not exactly saying I'm part of that club as well, but a $30 controller that's constructed with the quality of a controller that's pricing around $40 is absolutely ridiculous. I can't wrap my head around the fact that I can take apart these controllers with nothing but a screwdriver, pliers, music in my ears, and some tweezers. The truth is, these are built almost disrespectfully at this point. The fact that they go as far as to even try and hide it by making it quite literally impossible to get into the back two screws without destroying the back of the controller, yet case in point also ruining your lifetime warranty with these things, is downright laughable at best. Not only are they just covering up for the fact that these controllers are built like absolute fucking dog shit, but it's also just proof that these things are built like this on purpose. Think about it like this: if you're a middle class income family that has just set aside $30 to spend on a controller, would you rather keep that controller usable on a daily basis for, in this instance, 7 months? Or would you rather that controller only work for about 2 to 3 months max with even the triviality of daily use gone? The point I'm trying to make here is that I use this controller for a lot more than just Smash. I use this controller for games ranging from Mario Kart to Street Fighter. Yes, I use this controller for Street Fighter. Shut up about it. I also use it for YouTube, whether it's just scrolling through, which is usually just taking the left stick, or pressing the A button repetitively just to get through the monotony of YouTube's ridiculous advertising campaigns, or it's just something as minuscule as trying to navigate through the Nintendo Switch's perfect UI. Not only does the controller even struggle with something as minuscule as those two options, but it's so poorly built that it cannot even be worth the $30 the family spent for the kid's silly little controller. I know I've made this point before, but there's a reason I brought these exact things up. I'm about to go ahead and give you a few entirely new ways on how to prevent this problem from happening. Keep in mind, this is all coming in from the mind of a 15-year-old, so don't assume that I know everything about the controller, and if I get some things wrong, I deeply apologize. I need to set 2 ground rules before I even do any of this. Let's get that done. I'm going to limit this product into only reaching a maximum price of $50, so what does that exactly give us? Well, the last 3 times I've bought this stupid ass controller, it's totaled to about $31.87 on average, not including the $60 one I bought at Target that was a complete and utter scam. Keep that number in mind. The second rule I have that I need the controller to be completely tournament legal. The reason I bring this up is because I'm not going to add 2 custom buttons on the back just like a scuff controller, so I can bring up the point of, oh well, we're taking the tax that those 2 buttons are putting onto the controller and splitting them in half, essentially making the controller last longer. I know that this would be more convenient, but it's not exactly what I want, because what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to make this thing as tournament legal for Super Smash Ultimate as possible. If I wasn't trying to make this completely tournament legal, I'd totally add this feature to the controller, because it'd not only make it last longer, but it'd also be able to make you capable of doing otherwise absolutely impossible techs, such as immediate frame perfect buffered wave dashes and a frame perfect options such as Game & Watch Up B or Snake's Grenade Pool. So the way I'd fix this goofy ass controller, I'd change how it's built. The exposed wires and plastic slits for the trigger's actual buttons to tap into is completely horrible design and is supposed to save space somehow. Now as you can see, there's a spot that's right under these slits that would not only be perfect to keep them in the exact same place, but also just as easily mount onto the motherboard or whatever the fuck this green shit is. Not only would this completely remove the terrible building quality, but also change how easy it feels to snap these parts off the controller. Another thing is that everything in here is held on with stupid ass screws. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on just the outside, and another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 fucking screws in this piece of shit. For Christ's sake, half of this controller's retail pricing could be produced by these screws alone. Now how do we fix this issue? Well, it's simple. They've literally already solved it for me. See these notches? They could be using this everywhere. But of course, these little clicking notches would be built with better quality because these notches eventually wear out with heavy use. In fact, the first time I took this controller apart, because I use these triggers so much for throws because I mostly play characters that are built off of throwing combos, Joker, Kazuya, Terry, etc. for example, the right trigger just fell out of its socket. Now, instead of these characters being completely disconnected from the controller's build quality, these exact characters become actual fucking strenuous issues that cause the controller to deteriorate at a quicker and more rapid pace. So not only does the character you choose affect the controller so drastically that the way you use them literally causes it to break faster, but it also kind of undermines the way I think of a controller's build quality. I feel as though a controller has failed as controller if the way you play a game alters how it's built or how long it lasts. Take how people sand the bumpers off of an SNES controller's D-pad to allow you to build up drift faster in Super Mario Kart.
In 2006, a revolution was discovered across Super Mario Kart as a whole. The backs of the D-pads on Super Nintendo controllers have a bump that prevents two opposite directions from being pressed at the same time. Kart 7 discovered that by opening the controller and shaving this bump down, it was possible to get boosts much more easily by using a method called the zigzag boost. The player could hop and wiggle from left to right on the controller even while going over a straight section of the course, and begin to build up their boost without turning.
So I almost feel as though the controllers have failed at giving a good interior design that's both sturdy and profitable. Next, the thing that is broken on these controllers is the joysticks. These are by far the most used parts of a controller if you play Super Smash Bros. And are essential to the way that it's played. Unless you use a Smash box, but if you use one of those, why the fuck are you here? These joystick sockets are built like we still live in 2004. We thought it was a good idea to let an object that moves a full 360 degrees be stuck in a square fucking cage. Do they seriously think a circle has fucking corners? I don't know anything about a joystick except for the basics. One thing I do know is that these little squares are actually replaced with magnets in premium GameCube controllers. To prevent this quote-unquote joystick movement deterioration, as I've just dubbed this problem, there are actual solutions that the FGC has already come up with. Now these luxurious, expensive GameCube controllers, of which I was just previously talking about, run up with a price of just about
work of art. This is my controller. You see it has my name on it. JP White shell, custom transparent salmon buttons and C-stick, pink paracord, and it lights up. In case, it gets dark or something. Okay, it's a bit flamboyant, but there are a lot of practical modifications in this thing too. Shield drop and Firefox notches, a snapback capacitor, a tactile Z button, and shortened springs in both triggers. This was $400 fucking dollars.
Yep, if they are about that much money. Now, I'm not exactly going to get into the basics on how to build a joystick because I don't know shit on how to build one. But one thing I do know is that this is a hilariously comedic excuse of design, and I absolutely refuse to believe that this was on Power A's part because Nintendo has kind of been known to cheapen out on the same, if not most of their products. I believe that this is more of Nintendo's idea because when the GameCube came out, this is how their joysticks were built, although it was excusable because it was on par with other controllers, the PS2 and Sega Dreamcast controllers, for example. That being said, most of these joysticks actually are the reason I have to buy all my new controllers, and it is the reason why I've wasted literally over $200 on these stupid ass GameCube controllers. I've broken 5 in my 1-year lifetime with this stupid ass game so far, and I intend on still playing, so at this rate, next year I should be well on my way to about 13 that are broken controllers. So, in conclusion, how do we fix this build quality issue and barely raise the price? Well, it's easy. Use cheap magnets in the joystick, which by my advanced calculations of exactly one Google search, should cost just about 35 cents each. That brings the product now to cost just about $32. Next, we fix the exposed wiring issue with the triggers. Easy. We change how these are placed, and instead make the wire come through the bottom rather than awkwardly curving through the side, which is just deep ridiculous at this point. So now the controller goes from a solid $31.87 to a convincingly suspicious $32.57. That's a good price for premium built GameCube controller joysticks. Oh yeah, and factor a snapback capacitor, which I'll have Awesome Sauce explain.
All that being said, let's discuss what mods I got. Inside is what's called a snapback capacitor, which eliminates inputs caused by the analog stick snapping back in the direction opposite the direction you flicked. This prevents accidental jumping from vertical snapback and getting the incorrect direction on aerial neutral Bs in the case of horizontal snapback, both of which are extremely troublesome if not fixed. Take this pretty common situation for example. Here, I back-aired the neutral Falco off stage and wave dash backwards to grab ledge, fast falling by flicking down on the analog stick so I can grab ledge before he can. It works and he falls to his death. However, in this clip when I fast fall, my controller flicks back in the opposite direction, causing me to waste my double jump, which allows my opponent to grab ledge first, and I contemplate quitting Melee.
And with all that being said, snapback capacitors should total to just about taking the controller to somewhere around the $44 ballpark range, including tax. A very good price for a luxury controller. Now the last thing I wanted to go over is how the buttons are built. You're missing something. Maybe something translucent. Because we all know RGB is completely needed to truly elevate our gaming experience. So how much would translucent buttons cost? Now, with adding the controller's translucent buttons and LEDs, of course, to light the controller up, we total to just about... Oh shit.
Coming down with the poppy, on the rocky, going fast, what you thought me, let my car clean from my mind.